Hey Graham, so to be on the same page, I'm just gonna walk you through what I have now, and well, I guess there's just no other way. So basically, this is a prototype. I designed it myself. It's just to get the logic out the way. It's not very UX UI friendly. Well, as you might probably guess, I'm doing UX UI on the fly. Just no designer. Okay, so basically, it's just an app for an iPad for a surveying company that they want to have. They want to do all the work in the iPad, right? So they have the option of creating a new survey where they have like multiple tabs where they for each tab like they collect a bunch of info, and well, it's basically all pretty much the same except for maybe a part where they have a gallery where they can add pictures and maybe some well, basically it's all pretty much the same. It's just data, just collecting data, right? So once the data is collected, the way I'm structuring this thing is basically in the app. So once we click new survey, a new survey post request is sent to the database, which is a Postgres, and a new ID is created. So we get a new ID. So everything we do now within this new survey tab is gonna address our new survey, right? And I don't actually save stuff every time I do something. So for example, I would go into like each tab, and every time that I would be exiting one of the tabs, I would be saving to DB just to make this app a little bit more fast, right? So I don't have to talk to the database too much, right? So for example, I fill out all the vessel info, and only when I leave the vessel info tab, I'll be saving to database. And whilst I'm on the tab, this is all inside the memory. And well, as you might have, I'll show you later, but and you'll be able to recreate this yourself. You'll see that I mean, the UI is a bit different. Yeah, it's like this hierarchical navigation where you would actually, like for example, to select like the survey location, you would actually go to another page and go back. And in order for that to be a bit more responsive, I'm only talking to the database, not when I'm going to select a location and when I'm coming back to the initial page. I'm actually saving to database only when I'm leaving the tab. All right, so I tried it the other way, and it's just a bit slow. Yeah, connection, it jumps. So the user has the option once he clicks out of the survey, the survey is saved, and he can edit the survey by selecting like most recent surveys or searching for the survey and basically going back to the same logic as it is here. So that's part one. Part two is create a report. It's where he actually creates a report, and he can. So basically, he has to import the survey that he has been working with, and that survey is gonna. All the data from that survey is just gonna be inserted here, and it's just it's pretty plain. I mean, it's just stuff that he has chosen. Is going to be put into here in text format, so he can change something if he wants to, and also input some other handwritten data. And there's also some logic that, for example, if there's like, I don't know, the fire extinguishers are not, what are they called, they're not legalized, or that they're not certified, there's going to be recommendations given and stuff like that. Also, you can like import gallery pictures and stuff like that. And finally, there's an export tab which lets you select which tabs you want to export and send to the client. And basically, the thing just compiles the whole thing into a PDF before it sends to the client. So right now, I'm only on the survey part. So this is the prototype. Right now, what have I sent you? I have sent you an invitation to Trello. You will be getting an invitation to this project called the Boat Inspector. And so if you can see, this thing is linked to Hubstaff. So you will be also getting an invitation to a Hubstaff. And if you download a Hubstaff app, you will be able to see something like this, where you'll see here like Boat Inspector code or something, Boat Inspector Web API, I'm not sure. and you'll be seeing like these different cards, right? And you can actually, so for example, I send you a question and you see these evergreen cards like conferencing, code review, questions, problem solving. You can create any cards you want here, and once you assign yourself, well, GH is your, well, current tag here, right? So once you assign yourself here, you'll be able to see these cards in your time tracker, and you can just press play, and whilst you're working on this task, you'll be able to track time, and once a week you can send me reports, and I'll just payroll you through the Hubstaff system with PayPal or any other system which is on it, right? You can do it through an app, which I find is much more, it's handy and much quicker. But you can also do it through the web service, which is hubstaff.com. It doesn't matter, but this is a bit more. You'll see all your cards here. Just track your time, and you're done. Okay, now, so, and basically there'll be cards. If you see like GH, you'll receive automatically an email, or if you actually, there's an app for your iPhone. So I don't know if you know. So sorry if I'm repeating something, and so you just get a message that I have assigned like a card for you. So we are like keeping in touch all the time. So that's for Trello and Hubstaff. And now also I sent you a link to Bitbucket. And the thing is, I have a Bitbucket in Bitbucket. I have the web API part. So I'll just spend 5 minutes just to walk you through what I have, and maybe I will even make sense. Okay. So, and it's not very big yet, yeah, but you can imagine there's going to be quite a few controllers, right? So I have the models project, which is separate, and I have the models here, and I have the resources, which are also the data transfer objects are here, right? So for each model, I have a data transfer object, right? For some models, I have like a generic data transfer object, which is like, for example, I'll be having to receive predefined values from the database, and I can just use a generic object for that. It doesn't matter. So this top project is totally for models. Now here's the web API part. So I have let me just start up with the startup. So I have Automapper set up. Here's my dependency injection setup and MVC setup, and so this is Postgres connection setup. And I know there's a much neater way doing it than inputting a magic string into here, but well, I did it. Here's the nice way with a application JSON, having it here, but it doesn't work for some reason. So this is just in the to-do list for some point at a later stage where I can introduce a settings JSON and just take it from there maybe. So that was the app startup, nothing very special. So dependency injection setup. Automapper setup. Now, so the mappings, they're all right here, right? So to resource, from resource, right? So it's very small now, right? Because I've only just set it up right now. And so the mappings are set up, and as you can see, for every controller, I have, like, for example, a survey controller. So I have all the methods which are get, post, put. They're all separated. So for example, for a get method, I have at the top always a generic route. So for every controller, I would just have a little extension, right? So for example, for the constructor, you can see these guys are just injected automatically with the dependency injection of ASP.NET Core. And all I do is I'll show you the repository pattern I have after I show you the controller. So the repository pattern is broken down into two parts. I have the repository and I have the unit of work. And right here you can see I'm always, if I'm getting, for example, I'm always using Automapper to give the client the resource and never give the client anything from the domain. Okay, so and they're all async, which is, I guess, is pretty good. So here's I'm not using any coupling to Entity Framework. I'm completely decoupled to the repository, right? Well, I hope that stays. Okay, so next is my repository. Well, here's the context, right, which is just an empty constructor for the database. And my so here's the iRepository. So this is the interface, right? Just this is a generic one, so just some generic methods here, and here's the repository, which actually has the context from the Bout inspector context from the entity framework. And I'm using a generic repository. I think this is called the factory pattern or something. I have no idea actually. So I'm getting everything I need in this repository, and as soon as I got everything I need, I use the iUnit of work to just save to the database. And well, I'm not using complete, and I'm mostly using complete async. I used to use complete when it didn't work for MySQL database, but now it's working, so I'm only using complete async. So this is how I set up the web API. And also, right, so for well, here I have the migrations, right, and for the database, so I'm using code first, right, so everything is going into the database. I can always go back and see what have I done. And so basically right now I have set up a tests with NUnit, right? And so for every controller, I actually need to do a little bit of foldering here, so it looks the same as the project. I haven't done that yet. So for example, the survey controller test. So I have various tests. So um, for every for every controller, right? So every little piece of code I write a test for it. I kind of go in hand. I write the controller and I write the test. I don't write the test and then write the controller, right? For some reason that breaks my head. So I kind of write the controller and then I write the test, and if the test is read, I kind of continue my work on the controller. So I kind of do them at the same time. So right here, get survey. So these are just the tests, right? And then there's also a status helper, just to give me some statuses that I'm always checking for statuses. And there's also a test helper, which is just this is the test server, right? So to run tests, I think I'm using what's it called, Microsoft ASP.NET Core Test Host, right? So this is all done here. And there's also a method for deserializing, a generic method I wrote for deserializing JSON objects, and a method for creating the client. So basically in the tests, I'm only worried with the tests. I'm getting the client from the test helper and so on, right? So, and all the statuses are also from the statuses. So basically here are all the tests, they're all green. Well, you can see I always write, break them kind of into create survey, and then there's a block for update survey. And there's also follow the convention, test method name, what am I doing, and what am I awaiting for a return. Okay, so this is how my web API project looks. It looks, to me, it looks kind of neat. Well, if you see anything which is totally wrong from the start, please let me know, and we'll I don't know, see what we can do about it. And so in this video, I'm not going to talk about the Xamarin part because it's a little bit messy now. I'm kind of not ready to show you, but I've only set up the AutoFac dependency injection for Xamarin, and I need to do a few more things because it's a bit messy. It's a bit coupled to the view. I'm trying to think of, should I be decoupling from the view, should I not be, should I just move on? But anyway, so I kind of want to spend a few more days on the Xamarin part so far. But please have a look at what I have sent you. Just, I don't know, install Hopstaff, and at some point we'll just start working. probably a bit more after New Year's because we're kind of going on holiday here in Russia. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll talk to you soon.